Alright, we're talking about Ninja Turtles, so I'm putting on the green hoodie. Hi, I'm Ryan, your host of The Toast, and we're a bit late on this one, but we're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. That is a lot to say in one sentence, especially for me right now, because as you can probably see, I am quite sick. So sick, in fact, that my eyes are totally bloodshot because of all the coughing and sneezing I've been doing, so if you don't mind, I'm going to be wearing these for the rest of the video. Otherwise, I just look like a complete stoner ranting about movies. Come to think of it, they may be bloodshot, and I may be feeling so bad because I watched this movie. Okay, that's a little harsh. It was better than the first one. I feel like it's my duty to talk about this movie because, like a lot of you, I was a Turtles fan growing up. I had Ninja Turtle wallpaper. So at this point, I really don't need to tell you the backstory of Ninja Turtles. You either already know by now, or you just don't care. You're just here to see big CGI turtles, do flips. And they do a lot of flips. I mean, they are way too acrobatic. Seriously, these turtles must weigh like a ton apiece and they spring about like Cyber 6. Yeah, remember that cartoon? Turtle-wise, the four turtles are actually realised pretty damn well. You can easily tell between each character, despite what they're wearing and what their colour is. They've each got their indistinct character, just like they had in the cartoon. So I'm glad they really polished that up from the first movie. So now you can glom onto your favourite character quite easily. Mine, Leonardo. I know it might sound boring because he's just the leader, but you know what? Other big CG characters that actually turned out to be quite good in this movie? Bebop and Rocksteady. I mean, Bebop and Rocksteady, we've been waiting to see them on the big screen or some other iteration than the original series for a long time now. I mean, I'm not familiar with the new cartoons or animated series or anything like that. I strictly went from the original to the original movies and then to these new movies. So I don't know if they appeared anywhere else. Point is, they're in the full movie now and they're actually done pretty good. I mean, yes, they're over the top and cartoony, but guess what? That's what they're supposed to be. That's what their characters are. They are comic relief. They are just the big bumbling henchmen who happen to be a rhino and a warthog. Out of everything in this movie, I was actually fine with that. Design-wise, they kept them looking just like they did in the cartoon, which is, I think, is a good thing for them to do. They weren't just some generic monster men. They had personality, they had character. Because of that, you could recognize them, and I was like, oh, I remember that from my childhood. Hey, that wasn't bad. Speaking of design, this movie was full of good design, I have to say. Like, everything, especially the Turtles' hideout, there is shit everywhere. Like, scavenged stuff, like the chairs made of skateboards, and just, like, everything is something in this movie, and I really did appreciate that. I still hate the way Splinter looks. Krang was interesting. I did like the Bubblicious kind of jokes about him, but Krang himself, I have to admit, he was animated very well. He had a slimy sheen to him, and the slime coming off his tendrils and the way he moved and was so globby, he was kind of mesmerizing to me, even more so than a turtle. I mean, I was going to say the guy, but I guess he's not a guy, he's just a wadded up piece of spunky toilet paper. I do kind of miss the croaky voice from the cartoon, but it wasn't anything wrong with him. I was kind of more interested in the giant robot he was in, to tell you the truth. But I did like when the Technodrome was complete and then that kind of eyeball popped up on top. I'd totally forgotten about that. And I was like, oh, of course, yeah, that is totally on the friggin' Technodrome from the cartoon. Oh yeah, Shredder. Shredder's in this movie for maybe 4 minutes. Shredder's Shredder. He should have more of a role than an errand boy and then a popsicle. Now, the human characters in this movie, we've got Casey Jones, we've got April O'Neil, and we've got Will Arnett? I don't remember the actual character's name. It's just Will Arnett being Will Arnett. No, I like Will Arnett. He's okay in Arrested Development. He does a great Lego Batman voice. But in this, he's cringe-inducingly annoying and arrogant. But yeah, he does develop within the movie and then is given kind of a purpose and is kind of capable. I don't know. I don't know if he's supposed to be comic relief. I mean, he is comic relief, but then they kind of just use him and then he's like an old stand-up guy at the end again. I don't know. Right from the get-go, I thought, oh, this is the worst human character. Oh, wait, no, because April O'Neil's in the movie. April O'Neil, the lead female character in the film, reduced to Megan Fox wearing a skimpy schoolgirl outfit and pretending to be a nerd just to get Baxter Stockman hot for her. It feels unfair I mean, even in the cartoon, I'm sure she had more to her than that. It's just so obvious why she's in this movie, and the whole reason for her to be in this movie is to draw in an audience that wouldn't necessarily see a movie about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Even what she does in the movie doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, sure, they're the humans, so they can go around in daylight doing everything, but they don't go around in daylight. Everything happens at night. There's this one moment when the turtles are stuck in the sewer and April O'Neil's in a lab stealing some shit. She needs backup. She doesn't call the turtles, even though it's nighttime. Hell, she doesn't even call the police. Casey Jones, Stephen Amell, Arrow. He's in this film. He's perfectly serviceable. He actually has some fight scenes, and I gotta admit that the shuriken in his mask was pretty funny. Other than that, he didn't really do much. I mean, I'm glad he's in there. He's a Turtles character, so why not? For a correctional officer's salary, he has a very nice car, though chalk that up to product placement on the movie's part. Everyone has a very nice everything. The technology in this film was way above where it should have been. Seriously, Donatello, I mean, the guy is smart. Sorry, the turtle is smart. But the equipment he has, I mean, does he have a multi-billion-dollar budget to build massive holographic interfaces and even a wristwatch for April O'Neil that can just download everything from anywhere? Okay, granted, it said it had to be within 3 feet, but I mean, come on, that download speed is pretty intense. And everything is plug and play in this film. Every USB drive, every little watch, every little gizmo does everything just by plugging it in. No manual, no technical know-how required. Even the purple crystal interdimensional shard. All Baxter Stockman does is plug it into the machine and it does everything. Even the criminal bartender has GPS tracking on the cell phones he sells to criminals. Not only that, the guy has a handheld tracking device ready to go. That's commitment. I don't consider this a spoilery review because if you've seen the trailer, you've seen what's going to be in the movie, and there's no other substance in the movie to spoil other than what you've seen in the trailer, and it's all just effects. Now, the plot of this movie I've got to talk about. Not so much what the plot is, but the way the plot is delivered to the audience. Not kidding, a certain character is pulled literally out of the movie and explained what the plot is going to be in about 15 seconds. It's the most blatant, disjointed piece of exposition I've ever seen in a film. Alright, spoiler alert or whatever, but the plot boils down to finding 3 objects to bring the Technodrome in from another dimension to conquer Earth. And one of those objects has already been found. So we're hunting 2 magical MacGuffins, both of them are found super easy. And you gotta admit, the threat of an interdimensional, hyper-technological war machine does seem like a bit of a stretch for 4 teenage turtles who are mutants. And also ninjas. I mean, hell, even the Avengers had a tough time with that, but these turtles, they just don't seem to have a problem with it. Mainly because no one can get hurt in this film. That's right, this movie suffers from the classic cartoon syndrome of no one gets hurt. It is made blatantly clear that anyone who falls out of a plane has a parachute. Also, is it just me, or is it very unbelievable when someone is tossed across the room, not only tossed, smacked by like an arm that must weigh half a ton, and then crashes into a car, just gets up and walks away from that. I mean, people seem to think that cars are the perfect cushion. The human body does not think the same. I've practiced martial arts all my life, and I can tell you a car is not soft. Hell, even a crash mat is not soft when you're hurled into it at 30 miles an hour. Okay, it's a kid's movie, it's a kid's movie, it's a kid's movie. Now, of course, you got the interpersonal kind of subplot between the turtles and some of the human characters, and it's very much the classic break-up-make-up situation. They even try for a you are what you are kind of message about them turning human and whatnot, but it just kind of falls flat. It's like when they were filming this movie, they suddenly thought, oh, we better put a message in this film, so they kind of shoehorn it in and promptly forgot about it because, you know, they know that that's not going to hold an 8-year-old's attention. Now, I admit, Out of the Shadows is a better movie than the first one, and yes, I realize it's a kid's movie. Because of that, are we supposed to overlook the silliness and the plot holes and the over-the-top everything? Strangely, or fittingly enough, there is very little to no explanation about anything in this movie. Especially Krang, which admittedly does make it feel like a 90s cartoon made to sell toys. Hell, if that's what they were going for, good job. But as a movie, yeah, it's a piece of shit. Nostalgia redeems a lot of this movie, especially in design, but if you didn't grow up with the Turtles and you're over the age of 8, there's nothing for you here. The special effects are nowhere near as messy as in the Transformers franchise, so I will give it that. Also, the plane crash scene was entertaining if you can ignore the existence of physics. I mean, everything in this movie is just oversimplified and made so easy for every character to do whatever they need to do. Oh, you need to find this person here, track him with this. Oh, you need this information here, just plug this in. Oh, you need super powerful henchmen? Oh, this'll do that. Oh, you need to stop the world from ending? I'll just press that big red button. I mean, you can give kids credit to follow along with the plot, but really, a lot of them are just there for pretty colors and big turtles. I was going to say April O'Neil, who's just a pretty girl with big tits, but I'm not, because it's obvious and made easy, just like everything in this movie. Out of the Shadows starts out really bad. I mean, if you're going to walk out of the movie, you're going to do it within the first 20 minutes. After that, it kind of settles into a groove which becomes kind of watchable. Because after that, you start picking up little bits and pieces, in like I said, in the design that you recognize from the cartoons, and it keeps you interested that just enough. Frankly, you knew this movie was going to be terrible, so expectations were exceedingly low to begin with. That's why this movie is just a bit of beans on toast. Nothing new, but if that's what you're craving, there's plenty here to fill up on. You go to this movie to see Ninja Turtles, and that's what you get. You get a lot of Ninja Turtles. So in that regard, the movie doesn't disappoint. But if you go to this film to see a good movie based on a franchise you adored as a kid, don't. I want to give this movie a bit more credit because, yes, they're making it as a kid's movie, but they're also trying to pander to my generation who grew up with the damn original cartoon. That's a tough job to do. I mean, some movies do it spectacularly. This one, it did not, but at least it's trying. So credit where credit's due. I mean, they do try. They tried and failed. They tried and died. That was a Dune reference. Oh, it's really hard to film a video when you're sick. I mean, the throbbing pain in my head is just matched with the throbbing pain of this movie. Anyway, if you want to see more from me when I'm not sick, click away, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers! Oh, now I gotta go look up the Cyber 6 cartoon, because ever since I mentioned it, the theme song's been playing over and over in my head. That's what I'm doing tonight.